Welcome to Drinks with D. Community, entertainment, and conversation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I can't believe it's episode number 5 already. Drinks with D, everybody. Excited to have everybody listening. I want to appreciate everybody who's downloaded my previous episodes because it's been pretty cool. People actually want to hear what I have to say, which is better than most of my family members. So my guest today, and for people who know me, are going to be like, what? So my maiden name, I'm D. Eslinger. That's if people didn't know that. They all know me as D. Daniels. What? Yeah, they all know me as D. Daniels. And even people from Elgin, my hometown that I've known forever, call me D. Daniels. And my brothers are like, that's not your name. But my maiden name is Eslinger. And I have with me today, not my twin, but close to. No, Deb Eslinger. Deb,
Another
how's it going?
D,
Another D.
Deb Eslinger.
Yeah, Deb Eslinger. How's it going today, Deb?
You know, it's going pretty well. Excited to be here with you.
Yeah, thanks so much. So, I think a lot of people in the community know you. I feel that they do because you do a lot of charitable work and help people. But actually, you're the VP of Operations at Maxwell Leadership Group and our foundation, and that's a kind of a big mouthful of stuff. So maybe briefly, kind of explain what your job is.
Yeah, well, you know, my job. I think I have multiple jobs, Dee, but going back to it real quick, I always thought you were D. Daniels, too, and I did not recognize that your last name was Eslinger until my husband, who I married into the Eslinger family.
And her husband, Neil, is my cousin, and he's from Elgin as well.
And I was like, why do they call her D. Daniels? Isn't it D. Eslinger? So,
yeah, I know. And actually, the funny part about that, it drives my husband nuts, too, except for my husband's in sales. So, because, I haven't been on traditional radio in several years. So, but my husband feels like if he can close the sale, he'll be like, my wife is D. Daniels. And I'm like, you can't do that. But if we're doing something else and someone calls me D. Daniels and they're like, well, that's not her married name, you know. But it's funny. He uses me when he needs to make that sale. But yeah,
I love it.
Eslinger, that's it. My family, all still back in Elgin. That's where your husband's from. And
yeah.
Anyway, tell us a little bit of what you do.
Yeah, so what I get to do, I have a huge passion for helping other people and also just leadership in general. I joined something called the John Maxwell team back in 2013 while I was an executive director of a nonprofit here, statewide nonprofit. And really it was about wanting to be a better leader myself because it was the first time in my life that I wasn't running a business and I had a team member or multiple team members that I had to lead. And I'm like, crap, they're going to trust me to lead these people. I better become a better leader. And so I got certified in John Maxwell team and just kind of continue to lean in. Love sharing, the trainings that I've learned with companies, organizations, but more so it's that personal growth for myself. And so I got recruited to work at the foundation. I thought I was done. In 2019, I resigned from my office here, and I was going to go into full-time consulting. And then the foundation found me, and here I am once again back in the nonprofit world, which I absolutely love. But yeah, we're headquartered out of Atlanta, Georgia area and have another office in the Florida area. So I often travel back and forth. But we get to do some amazing things there. But most of it is about adding value to other people who really want to multiply value to others using leadership-based curriculum. And that's a mouthful.
So what kind of education background do you have? Again, obviously you said you're in the nonprofits and you've done a lot of this stuff. But I mean, is it
biology? Would you guess that I'm a biology major?
I was going to think communications, but you're not the first person I've spoken with that's like, I went to school for this and now I'm doing this, so.
Yeah, I was on this path. My father actually really wanted me to be a medical doctor. I was the youngest out of 5 kiddos, and I was the last chance that he's like, just go and do it, right? I had the smarts of grades and all that. Throughout college, I just volunteered a ton at the hospitals, and bless their hearts for those that serve, those that are sick day in, day out. But I just knew I couldn't do it. It was just weighed heavy on me, and I'm grateful for those hours of volunteering there because I just knew that wasn't my plan. So I finished out my biology degree, and then I opened up a photography studio, the most common thing that someone would do upon graduating with a biology degree. So I was a photographer, a biologist, who turned into a photographer.
Well, wow, you're kind of a chameleon. I kind of feel myself, I've evolved, and I can't believe where I'm at 53. But so biology, photographer. So you didn't have to do any additional schooling or anything like that to the position you have now?
No, well,
Just kind of on-the-job experience?
A lot of on-the-job experience. I've been a business owner my whole life, for the most part. So, excuse me, a lot of the operational things that I do. And of course, you have traditional school, which is awesome, right, and endorsed. But sometimes the school of hard knocks is sometimes where you get that real-life experience. You get those opportunities to really grow. But I have a lot of certifications in my background where it's really leaning into growing me as a person, learning different skill sets. And so, yes, when I was the executive director of the nonprofit here in North Dakota, obviously learning firsthand all the operational things, the board governance, the P&Ls, all the stuff that make things go round. Just continue to develop that knowledge, and really, honestly, seeking great mentors that have helped develop me as well. So, being in the role that I am now. Is it a challenge? Absolutely. Are there times where I'm like, why am I here? Absolutely. Are there times where you don't feel like you're enough? Like, ooh, do I even know what I'm doing? Yeah. Absolutely. But, the one thing I always tell people, because they're like, well, you seem confident, Deb. And I'm like, well, I am confident. And I'm confident in the ability that I can figure things out. I may not have all the answers, but I know, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to find a mentor. I'm not afraid to figure things out.
You're a problem solver.
Yeah.
I consider
As
myself
an entrepreneur,
that too.
it's a
like,
problem solver.
I don't have the book smarts to be biology like you, but I'm like...
Well, I don't know if I had the book smarts either, do you?
But I could look at something and go, okay, and then even my husband will walk up, he goes, how'd you fix that? And I go, common sense.
Yeah. It's that street smarts, right?
Yeah, I mean, that farm kid sweet smart. I'm the youngest of 6, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. I think I did. But maybe I didn't put it in context till today.
Youngest, the baby. I got beat up a lot.
We're still the babies, though, aren't we?
My brothers always said, that's the worst mistake Mom and Dad ever made. And my mom was like, that you're the best mistake I ever made. But according to my parents, the last 3 of us were a mistake. So apparently birth control back then was
not a thing.
That was not a thing. So I didn't know you had 5 siblings, I guess.
I do,
That's new. And, like I said, we're kind of related through marriage, being married to my cousin. So is that something new I'm learning already today?
New. Yeah. Mom had me when she was 46 years old, actually.
Wow.
So she got married when she was 35 and had 5 kids in 9 years. And
wow, she was busy.
Yeah.
I had my daughter at 41, and I thought I was a fossil. I was walking in and out of the clinic, like, bawling, because I'd see these little girls bounce in, like, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, I'm pregnant, It's like, 46, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, they actually, if we want to go down that path, they actually told her not to have me, because of some heart challenges that she had. And my mom, if you would have known her, she's very stubborn, and she would shake her finger and she would tell them where to go. And, she ended up firing one doctor, had another one, and that doctor also, said something to her. And she's like, well, you're going to tell me how I can do this versus why I can't? Yeah. And so here I am.
Well, see, good. That's awesome, though. I mean, I can't imagine someone saying you can't have this baby. It's like,
and I understand.
I can understand. I can't have caffeine, but having a baby is completely. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that happens though. I mean, sometimes they just kind of like scare you instead of like telling you what you could do to make the situation better. So that's.
But isn't that about life though? It's like sometimes we focus on all the reasons why we can't versus all the reasons why we should.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Sometimes if someone frustrates you or whatever, and you're about ready to have a meltdown, I'm like, you know what? That's really, in the big scheme of things, not such a big deal. I'm going to have a drink and move on with my day. Cheers. Thing. So, I know you do travel a lot, though. I do see you on like Facebook and stuff. You're off. I mean, and you go to other countries too.
I do. Yeah. So much fun.
Like, what is the coolest like country? I mean, because you've probably been. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to all the countries like the worldwide travelers out there, but just in the last 2 years, probably my most unique and interesting country I went to was Papua New Guinea.
Wow.
Do you know where that's
at?
I've
heard of it. No. If you bring out a map, I'm lost. No.
Yeah, so head over to Australia, and then it's about another 5-hour flight up to Papua New Guinea. So it's just some islands in the middle of, the universe. Yeah. Just about 30 some hours to get there. Just incredible, just incredible. The people that we got to meet and we continue to serve and partner with over there are just absolutely incredible.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I would love to travel in a perfect world, like, not with kids and things. There's so much stuff to see out there. So that's your probably coolest place you think you've been to?
I would say the most interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's cool for all different reasons. Yeah. But I would say the people of Papua New Guinea is just, I mean, they're absolutely the most, and that's the thing, Dee, and I'm sure you hear this, no matter where you travel to, the thing that connects us all is that it's the heart of people. Yeah. And, the work that we get to do and how we serve in different countries. It's just incredible. We meet some of the most remarkable people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there is. I mean, we're such a small, like, even in Bismarck, North Dakota, we think, oh, Bismarck's grown. We were just talking about traffic here. And I'm like, but it's such a small little thing. I always think it's so funny how, like, you marry someone who's supposed to be your soulmate and you've known each other. You all grew up in Elgin together. My husband's not from there. And then I always thought, well, how do you know that's your soulmate? Because there's all these other people in the world. Yeah. How do you know that's your soulmate? I mean, maybe God places them
right there,
next to you or whatever. I don't know. There is. I do love to travel too. I just don't get to do it as much as I.
Where have you gone? That's been the most interesting.
I haven't really been out of the country besides Canada and Mexico. I mean, I would
How
love
about
to
in the United States.
Oh my God! I kind of hit all the same places. I mean, I haven't really been deep south. Even though I did just go to Nashville with a bunch of girlfriends in February, which, you know me, I am not a country person. I'm like, but I'm a let's go party with my girlfriends person. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really kind of cool. I mean, just to be immersed and you walk around these bars and there's so much local talent. And I hate to say it, and someone's probably going to get mad at me, but I enjoyed the fact that when you went into these bars, there wasn't gambling everywhere, because that's what people do now. Like, on their phones, they're sitting there playing games. There was just people being social, having a good time, and dancing.
Love it.
I mean, I lived in New York for many years. I do have a special place in my heart for New York, mostly like upstate and stuff like that. But I love going to Arizona. I do like California. I've been there several times too. So
you've been all over the place.
I have been, and we go to Vegas every year. My husband and I have Raiders season tickets.
Are you going to go to the Steelers game?
We're going to the Steelers game.
Oh,
we got to talk about this.
I know,
because Deb's also a very smart lady, being a Steelers fan. Except for I'm not
born and raised.
I'm not. I am too, because my older brothers were Steeler fans. Do people ask you, like, why you're a Steeler fan?
I sat on his lap in the late 70s, early 80s, just waving my flag.
I was exactly the same way. And I say, I lived through the 80s when we were terrible. And, like, so the October 4th, I think it's the 14th game, we are planning on going. We're having a few issues booking a flight because the flights are kind of like not really great out of Bismarck right now. So I'm excited for it because we went. It's a great venue, the Raiders Stadium. And we just happened to fall into season tickets. And we paid for them. My husband's a Bears fan and I'm a Steelers fan. And we sell a lot of our tickets and people are like, well, how do you have Raiders tickets? I go, you go in a lottery, you get selected, you write a big check. That's basically how it works. But yes,
I love it that you have those.
So how do you feel about? So we're going to talk Steelers now. I was very upset that they let Pickett go. I was like, they brought in all these new
I had to mourn
quarterbacks.
that one a little bit. I was like, holy cow, what are they doing? But they are being bold, or they have been bold.
Yeah,
I mean,
my
Omar
husband
Khan
was telling me the other day that they're going to let Justin Fields run back kicks. He's telling me this. I go, what? And I'm like, okay, I don't know.
I heard that too, but I think he came forward and started like clearing the rumor. I am not on special teams. I'm not running back kicks, but I will be, competing for a quarterback spot here.
I just felt they didn't give Pickett a chance. I mean, it was
agree.
Very sad. I mean, he played half of his rookie year, and then
let's talk about our coaching staff. Come on, Matt Canada.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Look at Ben as he transitioned out under Matt Canada. I mean, there's no reason why we should not have had another title, another ring.
I'll go way before that when we had the Killer Bees, and I'm like, how did we not have Super Bowl rings?
Right?
I was just like, and say what you want about Tomlin. Some people love him, but I'm just like, why didn't we have more rings? We should have more rings, Mr. Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I still get so. I mean, my husband's like, well, Pickett's not that good. I go, how do you know? You didn't give him a chance to be good. Yeah. You gave all these other quarterbacks so much time and energy.
Because I've been following him a little bit on the Phillies. It sounds like he's been awesome during training season here. Which I hope so.
I mean,
really hope
it's like anything. It is a job. So if you don't get along with who your coworkers are, I mean, sports
messes with your mind.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. So we are planning to go to the game, but I'm going to be like, but I'll just sit there and stare at TJ Watt for I like myself some TJ Watt.
He's pretty awesome. He's over in Austria right now. Do you follow him on Instagram or anything?
No.
Okay, here's the, following me, but yeah.
He should know I'm in Bismarck. I'm not.
Exactly. But him and his wife are, it's just gorgeous because I spotted it on Instagram and I'm like, Neil, wherever he's at, we got to go. Like, it was just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, see, I didn't even know he was married. That makes me very sad.
Sorry, Dee. Sorry. I have a sister, a couple years back, we went to when they played Minneapolis.
Yeah,
I took my brother and my other sister, and and we went out there and we had the opportunity to meet TJ, and he spent
awesome.
about 15 minutes with my brother and myself, and he took the hat off that he had on when he was practicing, full of sweat, right, and gave it to my brother, signed anything and everything we had.
That's awesome.
My niece and we had a whole crew kind of up on the sideline there, and they kept throwing down. They would have little tank tops on underneath their jerseys, take their jerseys off, whip them down. He'd sign them. He just seemed like not only an amazing ball player, but just an amazing person.
And I just love I love his passion on the field. Like, he gives every play, I swear, 110%.
Oh my
it's
gosh!
Like, and sometimes I'm almost like, pull it back, TJ.
I know. Then he bounces right back up, and
Like,
he's like, "Here I am. Let's do it again."
I know. So I'm excited. I was very surprised because we went to the Steeler game there last September. That was actually the first time we'd gone to the Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium, because what happened was, I think they opened up the stadium in 2020, and that was COVID. So they had no fans. And then the next year was something coming up. And then it's just, with our kids and stuff, it's hard to go places. We need respite to stay with our son. So, like, last year was the first year, like, okay, everything's lined up. We can go. And it was great. I mean, it's pretty cool. But I have to say, and I'm not dissing Raiders fans, that it's mostly all the visitors'
is there more
jerseys.
black and gold in the...
But every game. So, like, a few of, some of my friends from back home, like Jason Seibel. I sold him last year tickets to the Vikings play there last year.
Yeah.
And he's like, great, and everything's, purple. I mean, it's like, and so then sometimes the Raiders fans get all mad if season ticket holders are selling. And I'm like, well, it's
tough.
You buy things like that if you're not living in that market to make profit, just like anything.
Right.
So, but Jason did message me. I think that was the game that it was like 0-0 in the fourth quarter. He messages me half through the game and he goes, I want a refund. There's no scoring. I go, that isn't based on what you're paying, dude. Mm-hmm. So finally, I think the Vikings had pulled that one out. So, no, it's a cool stadium. You should try to get there. I mean, I was just, like I said, they played there last year, the Steelers, and I was surprised that they played again. So we do go to Vegas a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not a gambler per se. My husband likes to gamble. But I did also get married in Vegas many moons ago. So it's gotten a little bit more crazy.
I haven't been there in years.
I prefer to go somewhere that I can lay on a beach or just kind of chill and not have to pay.
And not have internet connection.
And it's gotten pricey for everything. It's like, get ready to spend. When we got married there in 2010, everything was cheap. They still had the cheap buffets. Yeah. You get whatever. And now it's just like, okay, you better bring lots of money along. So, yeah, I mean, but like I said, if I was a gambler, it would probably be.
Enjoyed it more.
So I'm really hoping the Steelers are going to pull it out again.
They're going to. They're going to. We're going to have an amazing season.
I know.
It seems like the chemistry and what you're hearing.
It's just the energy of being, the Steeler fans are awesome. And my husband, I don't force him to wear a Steeler jersey because he's a Bears jersey. So last year I bought him an Al Bundy jersey, Polk High, if you ever watch Married with Children. Yeah. So he was so popular, and I said, all these guys are coming up at the game wanting to take pictures with him. Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns. He was loving it. So I said, you can wear Al Bundy jersey again this year. I'm not going to, because I don't want you to jinx my Steelers. Wear a Steeler jersey. And I won't, because I've gone to games with him in Chicago. We like Chicago, too. We've gone there a couple times for Bears games, and I'm like, I won't wear a Bears jersey, so don't even ask me to do something like that. That's silly. That's asking for trouble. Who does Neil like?
He likes anybody that my family doesn't like.
Obviously he doesn't like the Steelers.
He gets annoyed by all, because literally, all of our family members are big Steeler fans, and both my sisters married into Steeler, or they have Steeler husbands pre-marriage, right? And then all of our kids.
That's in the vows.
Yeah, all the kids. I mean, it's to the point where even my sister's grandkiddo, she just turned 1 year. I mean, the little picture when they showed and shared it, she had like a Steelers thing around her,
smart kid.
So smart kid.
Yeah.
But so all of us. So he, I would say if he had to pick, he goes back to, he likes favorite players like the Barry Smith. Is it Barry Smith?
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders. Yeah, I'm thinking Peyton Manning's.
Yeah.
I would say he did like Denver, at different times, but he doesn't really have a team that he has to really rally around.
Well, and that's the thing too with football. I feel too is like when you have fantasy leagues now, that's what you do. And I never did it. And I actually do. I have to invite you to this. I do an all-female fantasy league.
I would love that
because I had a lot of girlfriends who didn't know a lot about football, so I did this for them to learn and whatever.
Yeah.
So you're not with guys and you're not getting blown out. Obviously, you don't. I don't always pick the right players every week either. But I mean, I find that you have that fantasy, so it makes you kind of watch more than
Yes.
just your team or just watch anything.
Yes.
So
I'm definitely the one at home on Sundays having the football game on, and you'll
Yeah.
hear some choice words sometimes coming out.
Oh yeah,
You know.
Oh yeah, and I scream.
I'm the follower of the
I scream
football.
when my kids look at me, and I'm like, "It's just the game. It's just the game." One
It's
time,
all okay. It's okay.
One time we were going to go for a walk on a Sunday. I go, wait till the game's over. Wait till, and then it went into overtime, and they're like, "Mom," I'm like, "No, they got to make this field goal now," and then we can go for a walk because I don't
Yes.
want to miss it. Cause,
Of course.
I mean, but sometimes I do flip the channel because I think I might be a jinx just
Me-
to see if
me too.
I don't want to miss the. If I miss the kick, then they'll probably make it.
Well, and that's me too. When we're so way behind things, sometimes I'll just walk away for 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes. And then
I
they
know.
usually score 2 or 3, and then I'll come back and I'm like, crap, I missed it.
That works.
right?
So if you flip to another game and then you come back and they scored 14 points, wow, this
So
is
look at it, it's
great.
just me and you. Me and
Yeah.
you are jinxing the whole team, I think.
Well, my brothers did tell me growing up that I was a jinx anytime the Steelers lost, and so it gives you kind of mental trauma, I think.
We're going to have a great year. I know we are.
I hope so. I mean, like I said, I'm excited to see him again. I don't know when this will probably be, I'm going to say, probably my 7th time seeing them. I've actually been to Pittsburgh many moons ago.
I have
That was
never
a
been
blast.
there.
Beautiful
I've-
city.
I've seen the Steelers play probably about 4 or 5 times, but never in Pittsburgh, and this is the year I want to go.
I've seen, and I saw him. My girlfriend down in Arizona has Cardinals tickets. I saw him down there. I've seen him in Minnesota. I've seen him in Vegas a couple times. Where else did I saw him? Somewhere else. But no, I mean, it's a gorgeous city. You have that idea of the Steel City, and we went in September, which, the leaves are all changing. All the bridges are painted gold. It's just like awesome
beautiful.
because all the sports team have the same colors, and it was fun. It's East. Everyone talks very East Coastish out there, but it was a lot of fun. So when I went to see him out there, it was when the Jerome Bettises of the world were still
Yeah.
playing and stuff,
Oh,
and
so amazing.
and Heinz Ward and
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was in heaven. I was just like, but. That's a good city to go to. Like I said, that's a city I think has got a bad reputation of just being dirty, but there's not a lot of the steel stuff there anymore.
Well, and the fans. I mean, all the people that I know that go, they just talk about how amazing the fans are for the Steelers.
And
all
for
the
the most part, we're pretty
the
friendly,
tailgating.
I think.
Yeah.
Every team's got that guy that's got overserved, or that's just his personality. The first time my husband and I went to see the Steelers in Chicago, we've gone there a couple times, and we were dating then. And in Soldier Field, which is another amazing stadium. We get there, and we're walking around. We're trying to figure out where to tailgate, blah, blah, blah. And there's all these Steeler fans. And they walk up to me, and they go, "She's coming with us. You go over there." And he points to the Bears crowd. And my husband, like I said, we're dating then. He's just like, I go, "I'm fine. It's all good. I'll go over these Steeler guys." So I thought
Gotta
that
put
was
an apple
cool.
tag on you.
I was
so we
just
don't lose
like,
you.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, these are my people. We got to hang out for a little bit. It's okay. But
Love it.
yeah, no, good year. Hopefully.
It's going to be a great year.
So we talked a little bit about having your youngest of 5, but you're early. Did you grow up here in Bismarck?
I did. Born and raised.
Yeah, Demon? Are you a demon?
I'm
or are
a
you
saint.
Oh, you're
See,
of
you don't
course
know
you're
that I'm a saint?
I should have known. Should I call Neil and ask him if that's true or not?
You sure can. Should we put them on?
Is your wife a saint? What? No.
Yeah. No, I grew up in, born and raised, graduated from St. Mary's, actually went to University of Mary. Actually
Okay.
was going to leave. After I graduated from college, my plan was to leave Bismarck.
Okay.
All of my all of my college friends pretty much took off right away.
Yeah.
And I met Neil.
Oh, yeah,
And
because
so
I know
I
just saw-
chose love. I stayed here, chose love, and now we
that's
just
so
celebrated
sweet.
our 25th wedding anniversary.
I saw that
so
on Facebook. I actually remember being at your wedding,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize it was 25 years ago.
25 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. So that was, don't make me do math.
1999.
Wow, yeah, because I actually had lived in New York, and I moved back here in '93, so that kind of makes sense, because then I started radio here and stuff, but wow, so you stayed for a boy. Do you ever consider, maybe moving somewhere else?
I would love. Bismarck is beautiful.
Yeah.
North Dakota, there's nothing like it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, especially when I travel around, they're like, "Where are you from? Oh, is
Yeah.
that part of the South Dakota where the
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore is? Oh, is that in Canada?
Yeah.
Like, really, people? Really?
No, they can't pick out North Dakota on a map. Like, when I lived on the East
people
Coast,
have a really hard
they
time
have no
understanding
clue.
where North Dakota is. So for me, I love taking a little piece of North Dakota everywhere I go,
Mm-hmm.
and really just educating people on that. But I will always have a home in North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to have a second home or a condo down south somewhere.
That's my husband and our plan too. Once our kids graduate, it's like we'll have a little place here, because my husband hates the winter, and he's from North Dakota, but he absolutely hates the winter.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
I love it for a short while, and then I find myself
I
getting
don't
bitter
mind the
around
snow.
it.
It's the cold.
The cold,
I mean,
the wind,
and I
the
don't
cold,
hate it as
the
much.
sun, not having.
Well, when I grew up on the farm, I hated it because you had to go out and do chores no matter what. I mean, it's 40 below. Dad don't care if it's 40 below.
Let's get
You're
out
going
there.
out, but
check on those cows.
No, that's our goal, too, to have a little place here. But you always have to come back because, like, summer now, it's great. It's like our summer season is like the bomb.
Yeah.
But it's just that other 9 months
these
out of the
next
year.
few months are going to be just beautiful. Right?
Oh, I know. Even this
But then you go
morning's a
down
good day.
south, and there's a lot of yucky things too. All my friends in Florida right now are complaining that it's too humid and it's getting too hot. And then, and then you got the storms in other places. Several of them were, hit by the tornadoes that kind of ran through some of the areas. And so I think every place has its thing.
Yeah.
But I definitely will always have a place here, and then our goal is to have something somewhere else as well.
And my friend Bridget, who's from my hometown or whatever, but she's lived on Arizona for years, but she comes up here every summer to see her family in July because she goes, if not, I'll burst into flames down there because it's
hot.
She's in Phoenix. It's
more than hot.
It's like they have car starters for air conditioning where we have car starters for the cold. And I think that's kind of, people don't really think about that.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a pool, you can't survive down there either. But it's great like other months of the year and stuff as well. So what else? You said you're from Bismarck. What did your parents do? Because you said your dad was pushing you to be medical or whatever.
Dad grew up in the 30s, so that was the Deep Depression, right? And so in his mind, he associated with, success as having something that paid you a lot of money. Because he did so many different types of jobs. And so for him, that was how he measured, like, I don't ever want my kids to go through those 1930s like they did. And so that was kind of the push behind that. But and Dad had a whole bunch. His main job, he was at the postal office for many, many years, but he also did some real estate. He was wonderful about, purchasing apartment buildings or duplexes and kind of utilizing that as some passive income for the family. Summertime, you could always find him on a tractor, tilling up gardens. He loved the outdoors, had a really big green thumb. And then, part-time farming type stuff as well. And then my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom. She worked at the hospital many, many, many years before she was married. But as soon as she had kiddos, she stayed home with us, and then she watched every other child that possibly. I mean, I remember growing up with having like 20 kids in the house because, anybody that would ask her to keep an eye on their kids because she was taking care of us, it was, the more the merrier.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's kind of similar with me, too. I grew up on the farm. My mom, youngest is 6. I know my mom actually worked at the hospital with my 2 older siblings, but then when you have all those kids at home, it's like, what do you,
how do you do it all?
Yeah, I mean,
especially, she just kept popping the babies out, 5 kids in 9 years, it's a lot. And you think of it today, as far as the cost of daycare,
oh, God.
I can't imagine, obviously it was much cheaper back then, but it was just a more acceptable thing to do, to be home with all the kids.
And I think back then you could afford to just have one income versus now because everything's so expensive
you need double
now.
incomes and then some.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. But God, that's a full-time job. There was a short time after, like, right when my daughter was born. My kids are 2 years apart, and I really wasn't doing anything, maybe doing a couple hours at the radio station. And I'm like, this is harder than, like, working a full-time job, except for it's very isolating. It can be very...
I hear you.
And then my husband would be like, you're on social media again. I'm like, I need to connect with big people.
I remember, oh, gosh. Well, and like you said, when I first had our first daughter is when I was doing full-time photography. And I got to work from home a lot, and I just remember my, Aaliyah just being in my lap most days, or I was trying to do both. And then, when Isaac was born, and then when Tia was born, I was like, okay, this is it. I think I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. And it was like 2.5 months into it. Neil comes home from the office one day, and I'm just bawling. And I'm like, he's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, I swear it's not postpartum. I need to do more. Like, I can't do this anymore. Because that isolating thing that you talked about.
And especially if you're a social person, I mean, you can try to find like those other moms that, or maybe, and go, in the spring, go stroller walks or whatever. But it's like, if you're a very outgoing creative person, it's like, it's not like you feel like you're wasting your time. You feel like you're not utilizing, and you're not being your best mom either.
Right.
If you're doing things like that.
Well, and then the guilt that you feel, because it's like, I should be so happy and content that I get to do this. But I'm like thinking about all the things I want to do, and then you feel this guilt. And so, it was wonderful because my husband has been just an amazing support, and just going, whatever you want to do, Deb, go for it.
That's awesome, though. I mean, and you're lucky because I don't really know if a lot of partners would do that. I mean, some do. My husband's pretty good about it. I just kind of tell him what I'm doing. And as long as I have the kids, they're not home alone or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't care. Because I told him once I wanted to try to do stand-up, and he looked at me, you're going to do stand-up? I go, I can do 5 minutes in the bar right in front of you, dude. I can do 5 minutes on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, and then I think he got a little scared when he's like, yeah, you could.
You certainly could.
Yeah.
And that was a big passion of mine, too, because I was recruited. The nonprofit that I led was Center for Technology and Business, which is the Women's Business Center. And then it also had Idea Center in there as well, which is all about helping entrepreneurs start, grow, and scale business, right? And then on the women's side, it was also helping women in business, but also creating leadership opportunities for women as well. And that was probably the biggest thing that I heard from a lot of women was that guilt part that we talked about, where it's like, I think, the accepted norm is for me to be a stay-at-home mom, but I really want to work. How do I do both? And many of us had that mindset. It's either or. And so when I was recruited to lead that center, one of my big missions is like teaching people that you don't have to choose either or, figure out a way to make it work with each other, versus just feeling like, because there is a fulfillment, and maybe it's not full-time 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, but maybe there's something, and we would see a lot of women come through where it's a lifestyle business to work with the season of life that they're in right now.
Well, I do feel like I'm a better mom when I get to go out and do like my thing. Like, I mean,
you've been given these gifts, you got to use them.
Yeah, and me, like everybody else during COVID, it was just like, there was days I was in the garage, like yelling at myself, not the kids, but I was like, and you couldn't leave the house, and, my kids were pretty little then, maybe 2nd and 4th grade, and I was like, oh my God.
Pulling your hair out.
And you're like, what can I do? I mean, and then you couldn't be on social media because there's a lot of negativity going on.
Yeah.
I remember, because Graham being special needs, I'd like, well, let's go to a park, and then I saw someone post, I can't believe they're taking their kids to the park. It wasn't me per se, but somebody else. And I'm what do you expect us to do?
And you're out on a walk and you have to wear the mask. Or
you're being, and my daughter,
judged.
and it made my daughter nervous because she thought, well, we're going to get yelled at. And I was like, no, I have wipes. I mean, we'll wipe stuff. I mean, so, you have to, I think if you're miserable in your career or whatever, you're not going to be a great parent or a great role model or.
Well, and I think you got to look internal, and that's that part that I'm learning on that professional and personal growth that I've been on for the last 12, years or so is what are the gifts that you've been given? What are your strengths? I mean, you got to use them, right?
Yeah.
At some point, you just gotta use them.
And I am 53, and I kind of just in the last year, after I got let go, I was doing part-time on radio on the Fox, and then COVID happened, so they had let all the part-time staff go. And I've said before, it was hurtful. I'd been there 26 years, but it was kind of like, okay, in reality, it was okay because I wasn't going to be able to go in and do my job there part-time anyway because I had the kids at home. There was no school. But then I kept saying, I'm going to do a podcast. And I never put the pieces together. And now I'm like this year, all right, Dee, this is ridiculous. I mean, you keep saying you're going to do this.
Jumped in. Here you are.
So, and then, like I said, the comedy thing that might happen this fall. I mean, I got all
I love
this
it.
other.
Well, let's plan it. Where do we want? When do we?
Well,
what's
there's
the
a couple
date?
places downtown that there's actually quite a big stand-up comedy kind of, I would say, group or following at some of the local bars downtown in Bismarck. So I've seen a few of them, and I'm like, and I asked the one guy, well, Gideon's Brewing, because they helped us do something with our nonprofit for a fundraiser, and they do something like I think every other Wednesday. And I was talking to the manager there, and I go, well, how long does the routine have to be? It's like 5 minutes. I'm like I said, I could do 5 minutes.
Okay, so what Wednesday are we picking?
Well, I'll look at my calendar. The only problem with that is that I laugh. And
Are you all hearing her right now?
Oh,
She's not committing. Come on,
I will. The only problem with that is, and people laugh at me, is that I'm 53 years old. I go to bed early. I'm up early, so it doesn't start till like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, that's kind of late for me to be going out.
But if it's only 5 minutes.
Yeah, but there's other ones. Who knows if you get the first line. And then my husband's like, well, if you go out that late, we could go out later than that and sing karaoke because he likes singing karaoke.
So
and
fun.
I'm like, well, why don't I go do comedy and make fun of your karaoke? No.
That sounds great. I love it.
So, no, I will. We'll get Neil out there, too.
Let's
maybe
do it.
because I know stuff about your husband. Because, like I said, we grew up together. I graduated with his older brother, Mark, and we were always right next to each other in lockers because, same last name kind of a thing. But, I mean, I got some stories. I'd
love to hear some stories.
I know where some of the
maybe not for the air
buried.
today, but I would love to hear some of them.
There were some parties. We had some parties. Ask your husband about losing all his hubcaps once.
Oh, I think I heard that story. Yeah.
Yeah, and his dad wasn't pleased with him. So,
no.
Our dads were never pleased with us.
Never.
It was the 80s.
Could you ever please the Eslinger
Oh, God.
dads?
I think it's just kind of the old farmer grumpy.
But as they say, though, well, that was me building character for you.
Yeah. Oh, I know. My brothers one of my older brothers once told me, aren't you glad I made you tough? And I'm like, really? That's what you're going to say for being mean to me? He's also the brother who asked me when I wanted my daily beating. So.
Oh, my gosh.
So your brothers weren't that mean, were they?
No. No,
Yeah.
our family, and the amazing part is all 5 of us, we lost both of our parents, and we're so close. Our family is so close, and we all get along so well, which is
I get along with them well now, but growing up
and they were
in
not
this situation,
they were not real mean growing
even
up.
growing up.
No, not real bad.
Oh man,
I was always the baby, so I just never really got to hang out with, it's like they always did a lot of the fun things, and I just
my
kind of
brother
was on my
Grant
own.
was only 18 months older than me, so there was a lot of torture with him. It
sure.
was just like constant, which I named my son after him. And sometimes, he'll do something that my brother would do, like give me that look, and I'm like, dude, genetics are so strong. It's like you're just like your uncle, and he'll look at me, and it's like,
that.
it is. It's kind of funny. So
Great way to carry on his legacy.
yeah, he's a good boy. So we were talking a little bit about your nonprofit world, and actually, I know we have a meeting coming up here tomorrow, but
The Bizman Power of 100.
yeah,
Is that where we're going?
yes, we're going to go with that because I've been aware of it for quite a while. I have some really good friends who go, and actually, I think December last year was my first. I went with my friend Chris Ann to kind of just audit the meeting and stuff, and it's cool. And she asked me to be on her team, so I'm actually on a team.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's
I was
great.
super excited to see you in the
I think
crowd
it's
there.
great, and I never, like I said, I saw my friends posting on Facebook, and I didn't really know what it was about, but I think it's great. Even though I have my own nonprofit, but I never intend of being that group getting nominated because I'm like, we're small and that's not what we're about. But I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that all these professional people come together. It's mostly women, but people, and that I've discovered that I have found out about so many more nonprofits that I never even knew
I had
about.
no idea that they existed.
I remember the December meeting, the Christmas meeting, which Chris Ann says is a lot bigger than a lot of them. But just like the booklets or the brochures that they put on the table, So maybe kind of explain how it came about, and then we'll maybe talk about if you're in a nonprofit, you're kind of curious about it, like how it all works.
Awesome. Well, it's one of my favorite things to be part of. So me and one of your past guests, Deidre Hillman, and then Tess Schlafman, we had heard about this idea in the past, and we wanted to bring it to Bismarck. And so we started it, 7 years ago. We're just going to be on our anniversary month here. And really, it's all about the power of a $100 bill. So the background of the history on it is, I think it was in Michigan, there was a need for some things for this orphanage or this place where this one lady who was significantly wealthy got asked to donate. And she's like, well, I can, and I'm happy to donate. But wouldn't it mean more if I galvanize people to all come together and contribute? So should she give $10,000, or could she find 100 women to give $100 and just watch that grow, right? And so that's what she did. She started bringing women together and tried to empower them to go, hey, let's use this $100 bill. Let's create a momentum and galvanize people to really want to make a difference in that community. And it continued to grow. So around the nation, there's lots of different, we call it Power of 100. There's other chapters that call it something different, but we're not an organized entity. So we really are just a volunteer-led organization, volunteer-led group. And really the goal is to get members to commit to giving 4 times a year. And as a member, you can give $100 every quarter as a single person, or not single as in married or single, but just as a team of one. Or you can create a team, like you just mentioned, where you can have up to 4 people on the team, and every quarter that each person on that team would give $25. So a total of $100 for the year, or a total of $400 for the year. And so our goal is these team members can nominate nonprofits. And so there's some different rules behind, the nonprofit has to be in, good standing, been in existence for a couple of years, that kind of stuff. But we go do all the vetting on that. But then the night of the meeting, all of these nominations come into a big drum. We, roll the drum. We let people pick out, and then we kind of call it Shark Tank for nonprofits, where you got 5 minutes, 5 minutes to plead your case in front of all the people that are in the audience. And oftentimes we'll have a couple hundred people in the audience, 150 to 225-ish, where 5 minutes you get to plead. What's your nonprofit? What would the money be used for? And really just pulling on those heartstrings of the people in the audience. And then after the 5-minute buzzer, and this is the hard part because I have to cut people off if they're in the middle of it. I'm like, sorry. But then the members can then ask questions. So then you got 5 minutes for Q&A. And then at the end of that, so we pick 3 of them out every meeting night, and then all the members vote by the end of that night. And then they go tally up the votes. We come back in and we award usually between $10,000 and $14,000 to that nonprofit.
Yeah,
which is huge. We've had, and right now I just think we're under about 300,000 total in our giving, which is incredible. I mean, there was one nonprofit that 10,000 was their whole annual budget.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's hard. I mean,
impact
when you're doing
stories.
events, it's hard. It's a lot of planning and manpower, and if you can just do that in one night, the generosity of others, that's
it's amazing. And the community, I mean, the generosity of our community members, as I mentioned, you know, we are not an organized nonprofit. We're just a team of volunteers. We usually have some food, which wonderful donations by many of our community members, businesses that come in and help come alongside of us. All of our energy that we put into it is volunteer hours, right? Always looking for some people to help the nights of or even be on the executive team. But you can learn more just by going to bizmanpower100.org and just kind of check it out. But come to our meeting tomorrow, as you mentioned. And this is what I also heard. A dear friend, Tracy Finneman, who is no longer with us. I'm not sure if you remember her. Papa's Pumpkin Patch and the Papa Granola.
Okay.
She shared with me because she was a member when she was here with us. But she just said, my favorite part about it is I can come. I can enjoy great company. I can make a great decision on giving back to an organization, and I can leave. And she's like, there's nothing else expected, right? Besides visiting with other people who have a shared, heart of wanting to give back. But it's almost like, I can come and relax.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a stiff meeting, right? You get to come and relax.
It's very social. I mean, the first time I went, I knew a lot of people. I mean, I knew a lot of people that were there, which is and then you make new friends, you connect with people. I mean, there's just, like I said, I was just amazed by how many nonprofits, and they're so diverse. There's so many different
and
things I never even knew were in our community.
Well, and I definitely think your nonprofit needs to get nominated. So
yeah, I mean, we're over two now, but
no, I'm going to say I'd be happy to put your nomination in.
Don't worry about it this time. I was going to preface this, though, that we're talking about it. The meeting is tomorrow, but we're pre-recording this, so when this airs
later.
Yes. So do you know when the next quarter meeting?
We're in the process of picking that date, but it'll be September.
Yeah, September as well. So that's what I was going to say, because the joys of recording things. It's not like radio when you're live and you have to worry about people swearing and things like that. So you're listening to 102.5 FM on radioaccess.org. You can listen there or download this on any of your places you do your apps. Do you listen to a lot of podcasts? Or
I do. I try to anyway.
Yeah, Spotify. I mean, you can find us all on there as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward. Like I said, my dear friend Chris Ann at Little Lights, she kind of drew me into it.
I'm glad
and it's kind of nice socially. I mean, we only have 3 on our team right now. We're always looking for a kind of a 4th, but it's just kind of fun. I mean, like I said, it's just kind of fun to network and get out, and it makes you feel good. It's like you're getting to be social, but you're meeting new people, and I just like learning about.
And I mean, seriously, $100 or $25 for a team.
I mean,
you spend more on. And to know that it's, every quarter too, we have different people coming back in to share the testimony of what that money did for them. And it's just tears. And it's amazing. It's amazing to hear the impact of how all of these women coming together is making a difference.
Like I said, I've seen a few gentlemen there before. I mean, typically, and if you are nominated, you have to make sure you're there that night or else. Because you have to go say something, and you hate to be the lucky one drawn, and then you're not there, and then you'd be like, I mean, does that ever happen to you guys?
We've had it where the member, yes, and actually Gail Flom, the person was not there, but then she got up. She was the one that nominated them, and the person who nominated can also speak on behalf.
Okay.
And she just started communicating about that nonprofit. She didn't really have all the details, like a person who would be the founder of it. And they actually were selected, that evening.
Cool.
So it was really cool. But yeah,
I can't remember who was selected. Gosh, and I think I had to leave early last time. But yeah, it's just like, and then the great part is you get to vote. I mean, kind of like the team gets to vote or the individual, because. I mean, Chris Ann's like, who do you think? And we usually agree on. If you're a team of 4 and you're like not 100% sure, I guess that's a whole different
we've had teams sit there for 10 minutes just trying to. I'm like, guys, ladies, you got to make a decision.
Wrestle to decide who's going to win or something like that. But that's really cool. I mean, I think it's amazing, and I think it's another one of those things in our community that a lot of people aren't aware of.
Well, and that's what I love about it is bringing awareness just to all the different nonprofits, that we do have right here. There's some incredible men and women who have some incredible organizations that really, they aren't the large scale
Yeah.
nonprofits, but there are some amazing.
And I think people don't realize when you're, even with ours, it's like, it's a lot of time. I mean, there's only 3 of us on our board, and which is, I knew it because that's just my passion for my son with autism, but it's just like, it's a lot of time and energy, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into even planning events or things like that. So if you can give back, and I'm excited.
Well, and that's the best part too. It's not only just the monetary amount, but it's the volunteers that say, well, how else can we help you? If you don't receive the funds tonight, how else can we help you?
Yeah.
Or is there anything that you need? Oh, volunteer. How can we get involved? And so I can't even count the amount of impact that has been had because we connect volunteers to organizations or supplies, to organizations.
And I
as
think
well.
even getting drawn as a finalist is just the awareness. Like I said, I was looking, I'm like, I never, and so then a lot of the ones I see, I'm like, I'll like their Facebook page to see what's going on, just so, that I can just, hey, I can do that, or hey, I can donate something, or hey, I got a bunch of books. You need some books? All right. Or
There's
whatever.
a lot of ways to give.
Oh,
isn't
there is. And I think, and unfortunately, I don't know if I was as empathetic before my son was diagnosed with autism, and I just never grew up in that special needs world. But there is not, just besides special needs, there's so many, people have so many challenges. There's so much stuff out there that people might be dealing with, and just to be able to, help or feel like,
and to recognize you're not alone.
yeah, everyone's got their challenges, no matter who you are. You could be the richest person in the world and be the most miserable person in the world as well. So I'm speaking with Deb Eslinger, Drinks with D. I'm Dee Daniels, and I like to end all my podcasts, and if you listen to them, but I was thinking the other day, I might need to curtail my 5 questions when it gets closer to the holidays and stuff, but I ask 5 questions.
Oh, boy.
Did you listen to Deidre? So you probably
I did.
Okay.
But I missed the last 2 minutes of it. So I might
Those are
miss
the
these
important
questions.
2 minutes. You might. Okay. So I did. It's nothing personal. It's nothing like weird or anything like that. I don't think weird, but 5 questions. Drinks with D. Your favorite hobby or activity?
I love just being outdoor near water. So if it's kayaking, if it's anything that has water.
Okay.
I absolutely love the outdoors with water.
So what do you do in the winter then when there's...
I travel.
I was going to say ice fish.
I sit in my bathtub. We have a hot tub.
Hey!
So there you go.
My husband better not listen because he's been bugging me to get a hot tub.
Yeah. We use our hot tub a lot during the winter.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just took down the swing set and the trampoline and stuff because my kids are past that age and my backyard looks empty, and we put our pool up now, but my husband's like, we need a hot tub. I go, let's get past the pool season.
Yeah, well, I'm going to come over and use your pool. You can
should.
come use my hot tub. But,
yeah.
We have a covered patio, and so sometimes we are like that Hallmark movie where all the snow is coming down and we're just sitting in the hot tub and all the steam is coming up.
A glass of wine.
Exactly. Or 2. Excuse me.
Neil in a Hallmark movie, that kind of scares me.
No, he's not a Hallmark movie guy. He
No.
makes fun of it all.
No, yeah, girl movies. My husband's the same way. Even though he always tells me, you're watching your killing shows again. So I watch the ID channel. I'm like, I just got to know stuff. I just got to
know what's going on.
I don't know if there's a red flag going on, Mm-hmm. What is your favorite food?
Man, probably tacos. Love tacos. The kids tell me I make them way too often, and so that's probably it. I love Mexican tacos.
I do like good with tacos, chips, and salsa, that kind of stuff as well. Favorite movie or TV show?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. D. Favorite? I don't get to watch a lot of movies.
It doesn't. It could be an old movie star on your kid.
Yeah.
You travel a lot and you have kids too, so it's like, it is hard. You're probably like me. I see people posting, I binge watch this. I go, who has time to binge watch it?
You know, I'll stay current. Bridgerton.
See, I've seen the advertisements, but I've never watched it. What's it about?
Well, it's just taking you back to 1815.
Okay.
And just seeing
I'm not
all
that
the different. Me either. But I love all the costume and just the the English ways of. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's interesting to just.
I do like a good period piece, a good movie, it's going back in time, or something like that, or a good '80s movie. I was just watching a Wedding Singer yesterday.
Oh, that's a great
laughing,
one.
And I'm like, I was in high school, and the stuff was all going on, the hair and everything else, and '80s were a tough time.
I love those.
Aquanet was very horrible for everybody.
Ratting the hair.
Yeah, something people don't know about you, and I think there's a few things you said today I didn't know, but maybe something that would really shock people they don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people, I'm bashful. people often like going into more introverted than extroverted. And so oftentimes when I'm around a lot of people, they just think I'm naturally like this. Oh, so sorry, Dee.
That's okay.
Naturally.
No. You're practicing for Power of 100.
I don't know how that got on. But I'm naturally like more bashful or quiet. And so when I go into like a big room and if I don't know anybody, it scares the crap out of me. And I know that's weird because people are like, well, you can get on a stage and speak. And I'm like, yeah, I could talk to thousands of people on a stage or hundreds of people and have no problem. But like walking into somewhere where I don't know.
You don't know some. I get that though too. I can be that way too. And then my husband will be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, well, yeah, because when you're being on the radio, they always, when they teach you in radio school, like put a photo, like your best friend, and you're supposed to be like talking personally to them.
Yeah.
But I have had those situations when I walk in somewhere and I'm like, and I'm just not feeling like extra juicy that day or whatever. Yeah. So I just kind of like, and then people will be like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like,
"Well, right."
Nothing.
They think that
I've
had some people
day.
say that. Is she like intimidating? Is she? And I'm like, no, I'm just kind of quiet. I'm more timid.
I mean, I think everybody has that. I'm just kind of hanging and soaking it all in, kind of a day versus whatever. Yeah, and it's funny because when I grew up, I was very shy and quiet. And, and I had older brothers kind of like dominating me, whatever. Yeah. And then all my friends from back home, when they found out I was doing radio, they're like, what? She's like, I mean, my girlfriends who were close to me knew I wasn't shy and quiet. But they're all like, she's on the radio? And so they have that expectation of you that you're always going to be boisterous and whatever. And I'm like, no, sometimes I just want to sit here and not
just
say
a little
nothing.
bit more quiet. Same thing, right? It's like if you're speaking or training in front of large groups, sometimes.
But you're performing the same when you're speaking to a group, or like when I was on. It's a performance thing versus like. It depends if you're going somewhere to like do a work thing or whatever. It's like it's a burnout. You can't always be on.
And if you are always on, then maybe you're on something.
Well, that's why I'm more boisterous at the bar usually. All right, we'll leave with this one then. What is your favorite drink? It doesn't have to be alcoholic. It could be like, coffee, blah, 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 or...
Yeah, I drink it every day, but it's just my honey ginseng tea with some local North Dakota honey. Yeah. I love it. I mean, if it isn't alcoholic, most people, it's Malibu, right? But it's the honey ginseng tea. Not a beer girl? Neil and I love, Neil is we love beer, he's a big beer connoisseur.
Yeah.
Just loves
He's an Eslinger, so there you go.
Yeah, and so we love going to different microbrews and just, having a beer. But yeah, I have no problem with a good IPA or a good beer as well.
Oh, yeah. I know, and I do mine's I mean, I like a nice ice cold beer, but like in the summertime, I might need a margarita or something because it's just like, or I like wine when it's like colder outside.
They all have their place, don't they?
They do. It just depends how many you're going to have, though.
We just got to span it over the course of a year, like every night. This is what we're going to do. This is our plan.
Oh, I know. I mean, I start with my coffee, and then I drink a lot of water.
I've never tried coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I've never tried it.
Did your parents not have it in the house? Or?
Oh yeah, my mom and dad did. But he had the one pot that was all day long, and then we would rewarm it in the afternoon, and then you could smell it being burnt a little bit.
My parents used to do the thing on the stove. Was it one of those?
No, it was the coffee. It was the coffee thing. But no, I've never tried coffee. I mean, back in college, it was not really a thing yet. And then, got married and then pregnant. And then you hear all the things about not drinking coffee when you're pregnant. And then it got to be, okay, well, I'm in my mid-30s now. And why do I need to start or do I not need to start? So
does Neil drink coffee?
He does. He likes coffee. Mm-hmm. So I love the smell of coffee.
I think you should try it.
I may, but I just am... I don't know, so I can't even say that I.
But you'll get to that point, like if I don't have coffee in the morning, I feel like my day's not complete. Like I have to.
See, that's me and my tea.
It's not starting it in the morning. Mm-hmm. Well, there are people. I mean, we had our coffee shop that would come in there. I don't like coffee. I'm like, okay.
Well, there's other things.
Well, yeah, you have me to smooth it, but it's like, okay, I'm not gonna kick you out because you don't like coffee. Mm-hmm. You did walk into a coffee shop.
I mean, I love the coffee smell, and I love buying coffee for people.
Yeah, it's a great gift. I mean, we sell a lot of it, but all right, Deb Eslinger, Drinks with D. Anything else you want people to know, or did we hit on anything, miss anything?
I just am excited for people to know the date that you're going to do stand-up comedy. So
you know what? I'm gonna message you and Neil, and you better be there because
I will.
I'm worried about telling all my friends about this because I might get heckled. Then there might be some vegetables thrown at me and stuff. I'll bring my tennis racket.
Well, what's your favorite vegetable? We'll at least make them good, and then you can catch them and use them for supper.
My favorite vegetable, I don't know. I like cauliflower,
I do
cucumbers,
too.
and things like that. I mean, we planted our garden. We just did peas and cucumbers and tomatoes, just
Very
what my
cool.
kids eat because small little garden patch. But I make my great grandma Eslinger's homemade pickles still.
Ooh, I
It's
can't wait
like
to
it's a
sample them.
super spicy. And my daughter Grace will help, and especially when she's little, she put too many peppers in. So then you need a lot of beer to go with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pickles.
of course.
But yeah, we're Germans, we like our good spicy pickles and stuff
They're
like
so
that.
good.
So,
Actually,
yeah.
we have a jar that we just opened from Kathy. Neil's mom
Oh, yeah.
passed recently as well, and we still had a couple jars of pickles of hers in the cabinet. So
Well, you know what? I'll call you up because we usually have more cucumbers than we can kind of like.
Wonderful.
Sometimes I get really lazy about looking in the garden. I'm like, well, that thing is the size of zucchini. I'm like, I can't pickle that.
can't.
We're gonna. But my kids will be like what I was as a kid. Even Grant, they'll just like they'll eat them right out of the garden.
Oh, I love
And we
them.
used to do
They're
that
my
all the
favorite.
time too. My mom would get mad at us because as a German person, you do the cucumbers and cream.
Yeah.
And there's 6 kids. Mom and dad, there's 8, and she's like, we don't have enough cucumbers. Stop eating them all. And I'm like, sorry, but I don't want to
they're
go in the house.
But they're the best, though, aren't they?
Oh, just get the garden hose and wash them off
and just eat them.
Small town girl living in a lonely world. But well, Deb, again, thanks so much for being on this episode of Drinks
has been
with Dee. And I'll let you know about that stand-up routine.
Awesome.
You've been listening to Drinks with Dee. Find out more on Facebook.